My name is Ifeoma Idigbe, and I'm the founder and executive vice chairman of Boys to Men Foundation. And why did I set it up? A lot is being done for women and for children and for the poor and for health. But everybody thinks that men are fine. And in my experience, they're not. They need a support structure themselves so that they can achieve what they need to achieve. And if you listen to the news and read the material, a lot of men suffer from depression. Suicide among men is among the highest. In fact, on Sunday is International Men's Day, November 19th. And the theme for this year is zero male suicide. By the time you have that kind of theme, it speaks to the urgency of the problem. And so Boys to Men Foundation was set up to provide that space to begin to change the mindset and the attitude of both men and women and the world towards what it means to be a man and the fact that men need support as well. One of the founders of WIMBIS, Women in Management, Business and Public Service. And so I had a bird's eye view in many ways of how women are being supported. And after a while, I began to feel we're going to create an imbalance, and there needs to be balance. And so one of the things I've learned is that I was right about that. A lot of the young men I speak to and we interact with on our programs are worried about the expectations society has on them. They're worried that if they're unable to provide, they've failed. These are psychological challenges, and what it means is that there's a lot of loss of self-confidence and loss of self-esteem amongst the males. That can't work, because it's still a man's world in the sense that all the key positions are held by men, and they're the ones, in a sense, who determine when women can have position. That was one of the things we were trying to change at WIMBIS, but it creates a problem if we now have men who are not capable in positions where they're in charge of other people. And when I say capable, I mean in terms of how they think, because how you think and what your attitude is what is going to determine your behavior. And so for me and those other people who work with me, the trustees of Boys to Men Foundation, it's important to change that narrative. So we have found that what we thought is indeed true. And we did a small survey to ask men, what are the things that are important to you in life? 2 things. All of them said 2 things. 1, success. And they define it mostly as financial success. And the second is a support structure to be able to ensure that they achieve that success. And so what is it we do? Essentially, we run many leadership and life skills programs. Because if you're going to be a leader, and it's the assumption that, that men are leaders, you have to have the right values, the right mindset, the right behavior to be able to lead effectively. And so we run these programs for teenagers, run them for graduates. And that's just one of the sorts of things that we do. We also have something we call monthly conversations, and it's astounding to me, the stories the young men tell of how they were raised, of the expectations of their parents, of the words their parents speak to them that undermines their confidence eventually, the comparisons that are made. And I just realized that therapy is something that men need, but they're not going to ask for it. Even women don't ask for therapy, but because they talk a lot to their friends and they cry, it's okay. But men don't cry, men don't talk, or you can't complain to anyone. And so they internalize all these things. And so from all these things, we found that there's a real need, a really urgent need for concentration on men. Another thing we found is that it's difficult to get sponsorship for organizations that are talking about men, because everybody thinks, so men, they have it all good, and that needs to change. Because to be able to achieve the things we need to achieve, people have to give to support all the projects that are necessary for men to become the best they can be. Okay, philanthropy. First of all, I think the concept of black tax is an African one, and the idea that you look after your relatives, you help with the education, you help with whatever it is, that in itself is philanthropy. But it's informal philanthropy. And I think it's important to formalize philanthropy because it's then better to track changes. You can help more people because it's targeted, it's focused. And so I would say that, first of all, African Philanthropy Forum is a great organization because it's addressing these things in an African context. A lot of the time, things are not addressed in an African context. And the culture of Africa is different from the culture of other places. I often think that when algorithms are written, Africa is not considered. And so it's important for somebody to be doing that, to create this formal thing, organization that pushes philanthropy in Africa for Africans. And so I would say that kudos. And they should continue. And those of us who are in that space will continue to support them. And it brings to mind a quote that someone made, and it has to do with that boys have to be raised to see masculinity as a part of humanity, that it's not different from being human, that being a man, being male, doesn't take you out of the human race. And that if we do that, we'll teach our boys and our men to be more feeling and to be more in tune with their own feelings and the needs, therefore, to embrace any structure that supports them to be the best they can be. It's funny, I never think about legacy. I think that very often, if you do what it is you're meant to do and do it to the best of your ability, you will be remembered. My greatest takeaway, have been involved with philanthropic activities, is that it must be supported. Everyone must support philanthropy in any way they can, because it's the way that you can develop the world in a holistic way with love, because philanthropy is about loving people enough to change the narrative.